I know what y'all thinking. This looks like a prototype. This isn't a prototype though. It looked like it needed to be popped back in the oven, but we gonna talk about why. Special delivery, let's do it. What's good, family? It's your boy Sykes, and you are looking live at another episode of Special Delivery. We got the future of Nike basketball in the building today. We taking a look at their brand new GT cut that's part of their Greater Than series. And let me tell y'all, fam, this thing has all the technology in it. I'm talking all the latest and greatest bells and whistles that you could possibly want in a basketball shoe. But I wonder if Nike leaned in maybe a little bit too hard on the tech side with this thing. Y'all gotta stick around to find out. We about to unbox this thing. Let's get into it. All right, let's crack these things open and see what they hitting on. Woo! Woo, these things is funky, y'all. Look at these things, like, fam, this shoe just feels and looks so raw, honestly. It looks like a prototype, from the way that this knit is done right here to the perforations and the forefoot and the tongue right here. Like,
hold on, bro. They just got to restock with the Kobe Grinches.
Whoa.
Nike draw.
This is crazy. It just looks and feels like a prototype, but that's not what this is at all. This is a finished product, and most of the tech in this thing is actually in this sole right here. So you go to this spot right here, and there's actually a double stack zoom pod like you would see in the Nike Alpha Fly Next Percentage, the running shoe. And then you move up to this midfoot area, you see you got the curved zoom strobel right here, which is supposed to propel you forward as you run. So you get a little bit more leverage when you're cutting around the basketball court, which is really cool. But the real money in this thing though comes from this drop-in insole right here. And a drop-in insole isn't necessarily the most wild thing. It's something that we've seen before in different models like various Kobe's. But what makes this one so special though is that it's a full-length React insole, and we've never seen that before. The same React material that Nike has used for its runners and some of its basketball shoes is what they use to make this insole. And so you know there's going to be a lot of cushion in this thing. This shoe feels like one big science experiment. It's like the Mewtwo of basketball shoes. They took all of these different concepts and moved them forward a little bit and threw them into this shoe, which is pretty incredible and should make for a really good run. But I'm really curious about some of the potential overlap in some of them. I'll explain what I mean, but first, y'all know what it is. We gotta get into story time. Let's do it. This is supposed to be the future of Nike basketball. It's really clear that Nike tried to innovate with this thing. And so they went about that in a couple different ways. First, they talked to the athletes, particularly Sabrina Ionescu and De'Aaron Fox, who are actually the faces of these shoes. And they asked them what they needed to do to develop a shoe that gave them the sort of mobility and efficiency that they were looking for on a basketball court without sacrificing any of the quality. And so after a bunch of different wear tests and a bunch of listening sessions, the GT cut is what they came up with. But that's not all that they did. I actually had a chance to sit in on a meeting with the designer of this shoe, Ross Klein, and he told us about how he and his team sat in Nike's DNA space, which is basically a giant archive of every Nike shoe ever. And they looked at all of the concepts from the basketball shoes from the past and took them into this shoe and pushed them forward to innovate into something that we hadn't quite seen before. And the GT cut was the result of that when you add all of those things together. This is a shoe built for the future by concepts from the past and feedback from the present. And it's supposed to give you this incredible run on the basketball court. But there are some valid questions about these things. Like, for example, with this double stack zoom pod in the heel, do you really get the full effect of that when you have a full-length React insole cushion that absorbs all of the impact when you take a step? That's a valid question, and there will be plenty more questions that come up as people continue to play in these things. But that's also the beauty in this shoe, right? Is that we have to play in these things to figure these shoes out. And as we do, we'll learn them in time. But in this present moment, in the meantime, it's just really cool to see Nike sort of pushing the envelope with basketball shoes in a way that we haven't seen in quite some time. Y'all know what it is, family. We gotta get into that brass tacks. We gotta talk about who this shoe is really for and how it fits into sneaker culture. And as always, we're gonna start with that price tag. These things are $170, so they ain't cheap at all. And they are built specifically for hoopers. Like the Russell Westbrook joints were that we did before, these are definitely a basketball shoe first. But at the same time, there's just so much tech in these things. It's going to be so incredible to wear. And if you're a hoop nerd who sort of loves these technological advancements in basketball sneakers, then this is definitely going to be a shoe for you. Everyone is going to want to know how these things run, and more specifically, how this React insole feels. And testing that out is going to be extremely fun. I know that I can't wait to do it. Now, if you're somebody who isn't necessarily here for the wear test of it all and just wants to get in a good basketball run, you should probably wait until the reviews come out on these things. And by the way, that's totally fine. That's okay. Because either way, these shoes are going to move basketball sneakers a little bit forward into the future one way or another. And as a fan of hoop, I think that's something that we can all appreciate. Anyway, family, that's a wrap for us. This has been Special Delivery. I'm your boy Sykes, and these are Nike's brand new GT cut. We'll catch y'all on the flip side. Peace. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Special Delivery. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out our playlist for the rest of the heat that we review, or maybe just check out this video right here.